My name is Jacob Claussen. I am from Minnesota and will be discussing the evolution of the film camera over the history of motion pictures. Thomas Edison invented the technology necessary to create the first film camera. This camera would shoot rapid, continuous still images that could then be viewed in a kinetoscope, where the still frames would be sped up to create an illusion of motion to the viewer. Unfortunately, Thomas Edison did not obtain a patent for his camera in Europe, so the technology quickly expanded in this region. Stylized shots began to be practiced and experimented with in France by the Lumiere brothers, who are credited with the first tracking shot and crane shot in the history of filmmaking. In the 1920s, the film studios back in America began to rise up in defiance to the aggressive control of Edison in the East, and they set up their hub of production in Los Angeles, where camera movement and innovation flourished. Cameras were mounted and used everywhere, including cranes, dollies, and tripods during the early 20s. Innovation and experimentation all came to a grinding halt when in 1927, the Jazz Singer was released. The first talkie was the birth of a new, limited era for cameras and their uses. The development of sound was suddenly the studio's top priority, but sound was a problem for cameras, because cameras were incredibly loud pieces of equipment. The cure for this was placing the camera inside of a secure soundproof room nicknamed the icebox. Because of this limited space at the icebox, the impressive camera movements of the early 20s came to an end. It wasn't until the camera casings, known as blimps, were invented that the camera became quiet enough again to be free of the suppression of the icebox. Between the 1930s and the modern era, the film camera changed very little in its internal workings. Cameras did manage to become quieter, and sound was now seen as second nature to filmmakers around the world. Aspect ratio and color were constantly changing in this time, however. Before the 1950s, two-strip Technicolor was invented and was quickly followed with three-strip Technicolor. But with the invention of Eastman color, which was the first single-colored film invented in 1950, which was practical for productions, Technicolor soon became obsolete. With the introduction of digital cameras in 1986, and with the Sony D1 shooting format becoming commercially available, a large shift began to take place in the film industry. In 1996, the film Rainbow was released. It was shot entirely with digital cameras. Now, in the modern age, digital cameras are the accepted technology for larger productions. Digital camera brands such as Red, Canon, Panavision, Sony, and Blackmagic now dominate the market because of the digital's ability to shoot at a lower price than shooting with 35mm film stock, which is an expensive media. The technology of the motion picture camera has been designed, altered, and experimented with throughout its existence. It has been a tool to capture emotion, help elect leaders, and always to tell the story. Now in 2017, over 100 years since the birth of motion pictures, cameras have continued to evoke emotion in the hearts of its captivated audiences.